Hi, everyone. My name is Adam. I'm a therapist here at Simi Psychological Group. And today I was really wanting to talk to you guys about how to build trust in a relationship. One, trust is so important, right? Like we want trust. We want to trust ourselves. We want to trust others. We want to trust our partner. And trust in a relationship could look like trusting your partner with your pets, with your money, or just your life in general, right? When we trust someone, we feel comfortable not only with them but with ourselves. We feel like we don't need to hide who we truly are anymore, and we can feel confident in our own skin and know that they have our back. And trust is very valuable and important in relationships. And without trust, things can be very difficult to navigate, right? A relationship lacking trust can oftentimes leave partners feeling drained or upset or frustrated or just emotional, just overwhelmed in general. And when our relationship is full of trust, we feel relaxed, we feel worry free, we feel confident in both ourselves and with our partner. So the first thing that I feel like is very, very important is just to communicate your insecurities. And yeah, this looks like laying it all out on the table, and it's not going to be easy. It's probably going to be uncomfortable, but it's going to be so useful in the long run. It might be so scary to even think about wanting to address our insecurities with ourselves or especially with another person. But by getting to know each other's insecurities or triggers, you can avoid so many unnecessary conflicts and so many unnecessary fights in the future. And you'll just be able to handle things maturely in a reasonable way to just come to a good solution to whatever problem you might be facing. And whenever it's not actually discussed in a healthy or positive way, insecurities can be pretty detrimental to relationships. So showing your insecurities through harmful behaviors like violating someone's privacy or making accusations and like playing the blame game, um, you're probably addressing things in an unhealthy way, and it's not going to address the topic at hand. It's more making it personal and making it mean and making it kind of aggressive. We don't want to do that. And another insecurity that people might be facing, this is pretty common, is just having insecurities about things that are important to you. So it might be like your animals or your pets or your plants or just any errands or responsibilities you might have to do, and you want to trust them that they can do it. And if you feel that they're not trustworthy, you can lay it all out, right? This is part of your insecurity. And this could look like saying something like, I don't feel comfortable leaving you to take care of my animals at home. I want to know I want to know how you're going to feed them, when you're going to do it, if you're going to be able to provide them water, let them out to use the bathroom, and just everything. You want to know all the details. You want to make sure that you can trust them with this. And that's a great thing to do. That's the healthy way to do it. So after communicating about your insecurities, come up with a game plan for communicating about them when you feel triggered or when you feel upset. So instead of jumping to that gut feeling or gut reaction of wanting to blame or wanting to be aggressive about it or mean about it, we want to lay it all out, just like we did with the whole pet situation, and wanting to make sure that you trust them with each situation that you know is going to be beneficial for your pets. And all of this is so tough because talking about your insecurities is being very, very vulnerable. And vulnerability can be very scary because you're essentially trusting them already that they're able to handle you in just the most raw of times for yourself. And this is a very scary position to be in because they could do whatever they want to do with that vulnerability. And our response needs to be healthy and it needs to be good. So we want to practice healthy and positive communication with one another. And now that your partner is able to know what you feel is insecure, what can they do to make you feel secure? And the second thing I think that is so important for us to do is show that you can be trusted through your actions, not just your words. Words don't mean nearly as much as our actions. We can talk up a storm using meaningful words or stories to get our point across, but there's not a whole lot of weight behind it. But by apologizing, right, we can explain what we're going to do differently next time. And we need to match our words with our actions, right? We got to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. And if we're constantly going against our words and our actions are not reflecting what our words are saying, it can be really difficult to build trust and really difficult to want to have trust with the other person or even reciprocate the same thing, right? You start to you start to just not understand where you guys are coming from. So, for example, if you said you want to be more aware of your tone in certain arguments and you're going to work on that, recognizing or catching yourself when you're in an argument, if you start to raise your tone a bit, try to lower it. Hold yourself accountable. We want to hold ourselves accountable, and that could be the expectation our partner has for us, or even communicating that between each other, like, hey, call me out when I'm doing this wrong. Call me out when I'm making you feel this certain way, just so our actions can actually line up with what our words are saying. Because we want to prep beforehand, like prep before the arguments happen, not during the arguments saying what we need. Then we start blaming and yelling and getting mean, but prepare beforehand so we know what we need to do for each other and for ourselves in those situations. And if we're doing it wrong, it can be very difficult and very uncomfortable. So we want to admit when we are wrong, and we want to admit our faults and what we can do to change them. It would just be a good idea to always just lay it out on the table and making sure that we have one of those hearts just on our mind and what we know we need to do with our actions, not just talk about it, but actually do it and walk the walk, not just talk the talk. Finally, what I feel like is going to be most important and especially so helpful in the long run. Like it's very easy to do this stuff at home sometimes, but then it gets very difficult, right? But having a third party. So I would say consider couples counseling. If there's a big strain on your relationship and there's a lot of difficulty and a lot of discomfort, consider having a couples counselor. At the end of the day, it's always a great idea to have someone provide an outside perspective to what's going on. And therapists are so experienced in being able to support both of you at the same time. And they'll work with you to understand what you want to have in the future, what your goals are for yourself and for the whole relationship. And you might feel like you and your partner aren't communicating effectively about certain things. So having a third party being able to mediate the conversation, so when tensions get really, really high, having someone being able to see you in that moment and address it in that moment and not shame you for it, not blame you for it, but let's break it apart. Let's actually break it down and what we're actually trying to say to each other, how we actually feel, what we mean by the things we're saying. And therapists are really, really good at picking up certain tones or body language and just understanding how you're feeling and just being able to break it apart and break it down for you. Because in the moment when we are arguing and we are very frustrated and that tension is there and it's hard to trust each other, and that's why we just keep going back and forth with each other, we don't fully know how we're feeling all the time. But having the third party and the different perspective, it's great to have someone provide some insight or ask the right questions like, how are you feeling, or why are you feeling this way, or do you notice when you do this certain thing, this is what I feel like. And just being able to help you rewrite the script and have a better understanding of each other. So when we argue with our partners, it's unlikely that they're going to put aside their feelings just to hear us out and care for us. That's hard to do in the moment when we're very escalated, not trusting each other, very heated. But we want to feel heard and understand or understood, which is difficult to experience in a heated argument. But we ultimately know that's what we want, right? And by including a couples therapist in the mix, they will be able to validate your concerns while guiding you to the proper solutions. And you know that you want to feel confident and secure in your relationship. So obtaining these tools and coping mechanisms to strengthen your communication and whatever else is going on is going to be so important. And I think it's such a useful thing to do couples therapy to develop all these skills. So that's kind of where I wanted to come from today with this video, and I hope this was helpful. Um, Please look at other blogs and look at other videos if there's anything else that you guys are going through. Again, just communicate your insecurities and walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk, and seek out couples counseling. I hope you guys have a great week ahead.